There are some side notes about snakes, but there's always a side note about snakes. Hello humans, my name is Dael Kingsmill, bringing you a mythology video today. I gotta say, after doing the last one and talking to you all about the loss of my back catalogue of mythology videos that I did with Geek and Sundry, I was really touched by how many people, helped me out, and I got a bunch of emails and messages from people giving me, suggestions of, sites I could use or ways that I could find out at least a list of the videos I did, and you know, I got a little overwhelmed. It was really nice, thank you. Don't know why I developed an accent. So in the spirit of starting over, let's start at the beginning. The early reign of Greek mythology begins with a bunch of primordial beings, most significant of which are Uranus, the sky, the heavens, and Gaia, the earth. Every evening, Uranus would descend from the heavens that he also was to meet with Gaia, and they'd get it on and make babies. But it wasn't as simple as that. No, it was not, because Uranus was a pretty crappy dad. See, initially Gaia gave birth to the Cyclopses, the Cyclopes, who you'll know were like monstrous giants with a single eye in the middle of their head. They actually have specific individual names. Oh no, my cheat notes are smudged. This is just like that meme. What does this say? The names of the Cyclopes were Brontes, which meant Thunder Man, Steripes, which meant Lightning Man, and Arges, which meant Vividly Bright, which are all names that will make sense later on in the story. So keep them in mind. So Gaia gives birth to the Cyclopes, and then she also gives birth to the 100-handed giants, the Hecatonchires? You know what? The 100-handers. That group name was made up later anyway. Don't even worry about it. Whose names were Kotos, Briareus, and Gyges, ancestor of Gygax. These guys had just so many hands all over them, which is pretty gross. And Uranus looked at these kids of his and Gaia's and he said, not so keen. Let's just tuck them away in the earth and pretend that they never happened. Stick them on down in Tartarus or wherever and just not think about it. Except you might remember that Gaia, their mother, is the earth. So in a way, Uranus was kind of just stuffing the babies back in, and it wasn't very comfortable. On top of that, there's the emotional level of stop imprisoning my children and whatever, that too. So Gaia got sick of Uranus and all this hideous giant hiding business. So when she and Uranus had more kids, the Titans, of whom there were a bunch and there's too many names for me to remember, I'll be honest. Phoebe's one of them. Oceanus is another. I mean, Atlas has to be in there, right? Helios, Rhea, obviously. Look, that's 5 of them. And I'll give you one more. Cronus. Cronus was the youngest of all these Titan children. And when Gaia tried to rally her Titan kids and say, hey, we're gonna bust your siblings out of prison in me, right? And I need your help to kill your dad, all right? Anyone up for some patricide? Just a little bit of fun weekend patricide as a family? Anyone? Most of the Titans were ooh, don't really want to participate. Not sure if that's gonna go down so well. Everyone except Cronus. Gaia made for Cronus an adamantine sickle, something that will show up many times throughout the rest of Greek mythology if you pay attention, and she told him to hide with it and wait until nightfall so that he could ambush Uranus. I almost said Cronus. Cronus is ambushing Uranus. Now, in some versions of the story, a lot of the other Titans do help. Definitely not Oceanus, though. And those Titans wait at the 4 corners of the world so that when Uranus descends that evening to make whoopee with Gaia, they leap out and they hold him down at the 4 corners of the world so that he can't escape them. Meanwhile, Cronus is in the middle and he runs out and cuts off his junk. Just slices it right on up. Right off him right there. Whew. Takes that piece of anatomy. Generally, I wouldn't use this many euphemisms. And he flings it into the sea. That'll show Oceanus for not participating. And as bits of blood and whatever fall off onto the land, lots of creatures are created and things. But the important bit is that when it landed, when the whole thing landed in the sea foam from the waves mingled with the blood and stuff. And lo and behold, Aphrodite was born. Yes, she was. Looking magnificent as ever, surfing on a scallop shell all the way to the shore, where she became the very first Disney princess. She just wanders off, doesn't interact with anyone for a full age. And that's how Cronus overthrew Uranus, the sky. Uranus doesn't actually, seem to get banished and doesn't die. He just kind of hangs around penisless. Finally, the hundred-handed guys and the Cyclopes, the Cyclopses, these are plurals that are hard, can be free. They can be freed from their imprisonment in their own mother. Or can they? Cronus, it turns out, sucks. He takes one look at them and he's like, I'm not dealing with this, and he sends them right on back into Gaia once again. That didn't turn out great. Cronus marries his sister Rhea. She's one of the ones that I mentioned. So Cronus is the new king of the divine beings, Titan gods and goddesses. But Uranus, who is still just hanging around, makes a prophecy. One of those I've been defeated prophecies. Uranus goes, Cronus, I prophesy that just as you, my youngest son, overthrew me, one of your children will overthrow you. Cronus is not happy with that. That wigs him all the way out. So he comes up with a creative solution. I mean, points for trying here, really. Every time Rhea pops out a new kid of hers and Cronus's, Cronus just swallows them whole. Just right out the gate, just eats them. It seems like a pretty airtight system. Hestia's born, she gets et. Demeter, et. Hera, eaten. Hades, also. Poseidon, and Rhea is distraught. She's had to watch every one of her kids so far be devoured by their father, but she doesn't know what she can do about it. What can she do to stop this? So who does she go to? She goes to her parents, Gaia and Uranus. She says, hey, what can I do? What can I do to stop this cycle of madness? And Gaia helps her out. She says, here's what you do, all right? Take a rock, about yay big, wrap it in swaddling clothes, and when you have the next baby, give the rock dressed as a baby to Cronus instead, and Cronus will eat the rock. You said he doesn't chew, right? That's kind of important for this plan to work. And so that's what Rhea does. She has little baby Zeus, hides him in a cave, and wraps up a rock in swaddling clothes, gives it to Cronus when he comes looking for a baby meal. And true to every other time, he just swallows it whole, doesn't even think about it. He's like, kind of salty, I guess, but nice. Cool, see you next time. So the little baby Zeus is raised on honeycomb and goat's milk in this cave, far away from his parents, by nymphs and stuff, who may have been the goat. It's a little unclear. Until one day, Cronus catches wind that a little baby godling survived? What? Oh my gosh, that terrified me. So he goes a-hunting. Cronus searches all of heaven and all of earth for the little baby Zeus, but he can't find him. You know why? Because the nymphs have their act together, yo. What they do is they take Zeus's cradle, hang it from a tree, right? So it's suspended between heaven and earth. He's not on either. And then they hire a bunch of guys with spears and shields to march around the base of the tree day and night, having battle drills and clanging their weapons together to make just the loudest racket in the world. Ah! All day, every day, anytime the baby cries, so that Cronus can't hear him. And so eventually, despite all of his searching, Cronus must give up. Now, when Zeus does grow up, he returns to his mother, Rhea, to ask how he can help to overthrow his father, Cronus. It's just like the prophecy foretold. So Rhea and Gaia and Zeus all together, they get in a little huddle and they sort out this plan, right? Zeus pretends to be Cronus's cupbearer and adds a little something to the wine, right? It's not wine. Wine hasn't been invented yet. Different drink. A little emetic. You know what an emetic is? Probably. I'll tell you anyway. An emetic is something that makes you throw up. Oh. So Zeus comes in dressed all nice, carrying this big old golden goblet, and he says, hi Cronus, hey boss, I'm the new guy. Don't pay attention to the fact that you've never seen my face before. Don't pay attention to the fact that I'm not your usual cupbearer. Here I am with a delicious, tasty beverage for your enjoyment. Cronus is like, sure, okay, great. That was a weird speech to give, but I dig it. I dig your energy. He takes the goblet, he guzzles the whole thing down, and immediately starts throwing up everywhere. Oh, he chucks. Oh, he chunders. And apparently, either he doesn't digest anything ever, or Zeus grew up very, very quickly, or both at the same time, because he throws up Zeus's siblings. He swallowed them whole, remember? They were just chilling out as people in Cronus's belly. So first out comes Poseidon, then Hades, the pitiless, then we get Hera, then Demeter, and finally Hestia, both first and last born of Cronus's kids. They all get together. Hera elects Zeus their leader, which I guess at this point in time does make sense. They don't know what he's like yet. I'll forgive them this once. And they start a war. Oh boy, do they start a war. The titanomachy. The war to end all wars. It would last 10 years and change the face of ancient Greek culture forever. Unfortunately, we know very, very little about it. The titanomachy is a missing text, but one that is referenced a bunch, so we know that it existed, but we don't actually have the contents of it. There are little snippets that we get from external sources elsewhere. We know Atlas led the Titan army, which I guess means that Cronus is demoted, even though he's not being, sickled or anything at this stage. Cronus's kids, the gods as we know them, they set up their base camp on Olympus, and the Titans all went and set up their base on a different mountain. We know that it lasted for 10 years. To be fair though, that is just the shorthand for this was a long big war. And we know that Prometheus sided with the Olympians. Prometheus was heckin' wise. His name even means forethought, right? Prometheus. And one very important thing that Prometheus did was that in the midst of this stalemate between the Titans and the Olympian gods, he said to Zeus, look man, you gotta bring this back to the original cause. If you go and you free the Cyclops disease and the Hecatonchires from their imprisonment in Tartarus, stuck all up in Gaia, they will help you win this war. So Zeus and a couple of the others go on a spec ops mission deep into the bowels of the earth, which, as we've been talking about it as a body, saying the bowels of, a little grosser than I sort of anticipated before I said it. They knock out the warden, the guard, who's keeping an eye on these, cousins or whoever of theirs. Uncles? And they bust out their new comrades. And the 100-handed giants use their 100 hands to keep hurling boulders at the opposing army on their mountain and keep them suppressed. Meanwhile, the Cyclopses is super great at making stuff. They build weapons for the 3 male gods. Yes, stuff getting the help of the women. It's like freaking Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe all over again. Santa Claus choosing who can fight. As if Santa's an expert on warfare. Anyway, the Cyclopses... I just need a second. The Cyclopes build a lightning bolt for Zeus. It is his grand weapon, and it embodies a piece of each of themselves as well. Thunder Man, Lightning Man, Vividly Bright Man. They're like a really crappy superhero team, but with great gadgets and not too shabby on the side. They also make the trident for Poseidon, and a helm of invisibility for Hades. And with these tools, the Olympians overthrow the generation that came before them, and they come to rule over the whole of the world. Great delivery, great writing. Honestly, where's my Oscar? And so as things come to a close, Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades get together and they say, how are we gonna divide up reality as it stands? What are we all gonna, it'd be ridiculous for one person to rule everything, so let's split it up. Share the load. And they draw lots. And so it ends up that Zeus comes to rule over the skies, Poseidon comes to rule over all of the oceans, and Hades gets shafted with the underworld, everything under the earth. He's not technically an Olympian after this, he just hangs out in the underworld and doesn't really talk to anyone. What a happy ending to the story. Or is it? Bum-bum-bum. Because Cronus does one last thing. He looks Zeus right in his eyes, and just like his own dad before him, Cronus says, hey son, guess what? I prophesy that just as I overthrew my dad, just as you overthrew me, one of your kids will one day overthrow you. Let's see how that goes. Dun dun dun! So anyway, that's the story of the Olympians' rise to power. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, there's all the things. It's YouTube. You know, you understand that it's YouTube. I trust you to know how it works. Apart from that, I do believe that's it. I'm done. Email this to your grandma and I will see you some other time. Ah, nice. I really hope that this washes off, because at some point I closed my hand and now I've just got black on my fingertips. Not cute.